I first learned about television at Channel 5, station WBKB. They're called letters because they were Balaban cats and whatever. Station WBKB, and it was some kind of a panel show. I forget exactly what it was. All I knew was that you had to wear a blue shirt because white would blossom on television, and the lights were devastating. The lights were so bad that they used to make me sick to my stomach, and I figured I'm never going to make it in television because I can't. I'm quite serious. Oh, hot? Unbelievably hot. And also because by this time I wasn't sure that this was not going to keep me from being unable to develop a career in television. But I persevered, and back in those days, you could do news, and you could do interviews, and you could do commercials, and you could do dramas, and I did all of the above. And eventually started to do, but stayed mainly, I made most of my living from radio, because television was still iffy. Chicago at that time was an extraordinary, vital, exciting time for television. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, with Fran Allison. Kukla, Fran, and Ollie are, Kukla was the puppet, Bert Tillstrom's, and Ollie was a puppet, sort of an alligator, and Kukla was sort of a kid. We have 1 minute, okay. And Fran Allison was the one that held it together. And Stud's Place, Stud Turkle, did I guess it was an hour show. Dave Garroway was on television, Garroway at Large. It was a really exciting place to be. And this was the birth of television, really. I mean, it's the birth of programming for television, and I did what I could to find out what television was going to be like. My initial view of television was that it was exciting, an adventure, a voyage of discovery. Didn't occur to me that it would not be successful because there was so much money behind it and so many, you know, if RCA was behind it and the various other people in the television business. I know people say they thought it was just going to be a fad. I think that's what Don Hewitt has said. Maloney, you knew perfectly well that they were not going to be spending so much time, effort, money, that it was going to take a little time to develop, but there wasn't any doubt in my mind that it was going to have to be dealt with, which is the reason, of course, that I persevered. At ABC television, I played Lieutenant Michael Kidd in a detective series, notable only for the reason that it was the first ABC show to go on the coaxial cable, not all the way to the coast, to the West Coast, but all the way to the East Coast. So for a half hour once a week, it was not a very good broadcast, and I, not a very good actor, but I played Lieutenant Michael Kidd and made it all the way into the big city. I got that job because a friend of mine, a fellow who was the copy boy for me at the air edition of the Chicago Sun, the Sun before it became the Sun-Times, was a fellow with the name of Harvin Ginsberg. Harvin Ginsberg, when he was 16 or 17 years old and had dirty fingernails and was a not particularly responsible young man, but a great guy, finally had to leave us because he was going off to war. And we heard that Harvin Ginsberg had been captured by the Germans and had perished in a stalag, a German prison camp. And we were sorry, of course. And suddenly I was asked to come to an audition for Michael Kidd, and for some reason, by a man by the name of Greg Garrison, who was a television director. He had done the Kate Smith show here in New York. And it became apparent to me that for some reason I got through the original and then the half of the semifinals, and then it was me or one or two others, and all of a sudden I got the job. And Greg Garrison said to me, "Myron, don't you remember?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I'm Harvin." I said, "Harvin, you're dead." And only then did I realize. But he couldn't save the he couldn't save Lieutenant Michael Kidd. I did have one other interesting job in Chicago, which was in television before I departed for the East Coast. I was the pitchman for Peter Pan Peanut Butter on Super Circus. And Super Circus was a wonderful hour every Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. I mean, a genuine circus. The ringmaster was a fellow by the name of Claude Kirshner, and I was as I say, the pitchman in a straw hat and a cane and so forth for Peter Pan Peanut Butter.